Hi there. Today we want to look at the TCPI model. In our previous two videos, we were looking at the OC reference model, which we said was a theoretical model which has provided the benchmark, or I would say the foundation, that has led to the development of all other networking models. And one good foundation laid out by the OC is seen in the TCP/IP model. You realize the TCP/IP model is made up of 4 layers extracted from what? From the OC reference model. And these 4 layers are network access layer, internet layer, the transport layer, and the application layer. These layers are generated by combining some layers of the OC reference model. So in the TCP/IP, you realize that there are 2 layers of the OC that are combined into one. That's why you realize that this model has what? 4 layers. Or you realize if it's not 2 layers that are combined, it's the functionalities of different layers in the OC reference model that are merged into one layer of the TCP/IP. And in the TCP/IP model, the layers have fixed positions which cannot be altered or swapped in the model. So the TCP/IP stands for Transmission Control Internet Protocol Model. So as a way of comparison of the TCP/IP and the OC reference model, we can place them side by side and see how they differ. One thing that you can notice is that the TCP/IP model combines 2 layers of the OC reference model, which are the physical and data link layer, into one. So 2 layers of the OC reference model, the physical and data link layer, they are combined into one layer on the TCP/IP model. However, you realize that the layout is still a bit similar, or remains similar to what it is in the OC reference model. For instance, you look here, the transport layer is almost on a similar position. Here the data link layer and the physical layer, they are merged into the network layer. Then the top 3 layers, application layer, presentation layer, and session layer, they are merged into one layer. So you can just see that the TCP/IP model was extrapolated from the OC reference model. So let's look at the layers of the TCP/IP model. First, we look at the network access layer, which is this one. So the network access layer performs the functions that were performed by the physical layer and the data link layer in the OC reference model. So when we are looking at the network access layer, we are just merging the functionality of the physical layer and the data link layer that we described in the OC reference model. All those are now being performed by the network access layer. So we said the network access layer combines what? The two functionalities of the data link layer and the physical layer in the what? In the OSI reference model. Then we have the internet layer. So the internet layer defines the protocols which are responsible for the logical transmission of data over the entire network. It also ensures that the data that travels on the network gets to its destination correctly. And for the data to get to its destination correctly, there are various hardware devices and protocols that are used by the internet layer. So probably you might need to identify or understand the devices and protocols that are used by the internet layer. So as you can see from this definition, from this statement here, the internet layer enroutes the data packets from the source destination through the process of routing. It means we are now talking of what? Of routing and the relevant routing protocols. And some of the protocols that you find at the internet layer with the IP protocol, the internet protocol, with the ICMP protocol, which is internet control and message protocol, with the IRP, which is the address resolution protocol. All these protocols, they are there to facilitate what? Successful transmission and routing of data packets over the what? The network. From the internet layer, we go to the transport layer. You can see from our diagram here that the transport layer in the TCP/IP corresponds to what? To the transport layer in the OSI reference model. So the transport layer performs the same functions and have similar features as is in the what? OSI reference model. So we can't continue belaboring the same thing that we talked about in the OSI reference model. If you understood the functions of the transport layer in the OSI reference model, they are the same functions that are being what? Executed here in what? In the TCP/IP model. Then the next layer is what? The application layer. So transport, then we go to what? To the application layer. So the application layer performs the functions of the three layers of the OSI reference model. That is the three top layers, which is the application layer, the presentation layer, and the session layer. They are now combined into one under the what? The OSI reference model. So it is responsible for node-to-node communication and control of user interface specifications. I think we alluded this in detail when we talked about the OSI reference model. So what the notes that you wrote for the three top layers, you are now combining all these into what? One layer of the application layer. And probably what we are just talking about is the protocols. Remember, we said that the OSI reference model doesn't have specific protocols that operate at which layer, which is the problem that the TCP/IP came in to address. And at the application layer here, we have various protocols that are in use. With the HTTP, I think this you are familiar with, you use the web every day, the HTTP and the HTTPS. Hypertext Transfer Protocol, We have the FTP. This is for file transfer. For file transfer. We have Telnet. We have SSH, SMTP, SNMP. This one is for mail, same as SMTP. It's for mail. We have the DHCP. So I want you to write notes about the various protocols that operate at each layer of the TCP/IP. So you realize on this layer, the application layer of the TCP/IP, there are various number of protocols that operate there. I want you to go and identify the protocols that operate there. Then you write notes about them. Then you go to the transport layer. So I was saying you need to go and look at the various protocols that operate at each layer of the TCP/IP, and I think some of them I have mentioned them for you here, or probably let me just do you a favor so that we quicken the process. At the network access layer, I want you to look at the ARP. At the internet layer, you look at the IP, ICMP, ARP. At the host layer, I want you to look at the TCP, UDP. At the application layer, HTTP, HTTPS, FTP, TFTP, Telnet, SSH, SMTP, SNMP, DNS, DHCP. So this is the application layer. Yes, so look at those protocols and any other that you may come across. Thank you very much.